So, air show experiences. I know, Gonky, you were a demo pilot for a little while. I never got that opportunity. I would have. That would have been awesome. But I wanted to talk about some of our favorite air show experiences. I came back from a deployment and I found out about the Acadiana Air Show, New Iberia, and it's about what, Doug, about an hour and a half away from where we live. If
I
that.
made it down there in 45 minutes because you called me and said, come down.
Well, okay. So I got to bring my first time down there. I did the air show 3 or 4 times. And first time I went down there, they sent me with a crew chief and I was the snacko. And they sent me with all this merch, right? Because they're like, hey, make some money for the Squadron Snacko Fund, which maybe I should plead the fifth. Allegedly, this happened. So you go down there and it's my first air show and my dad shows up in the motorhome. And if you don't know, I've got a special needs brother. He's got cerebral palsy. So they were traveling in the motorhome. My stepmom was there, brought the wiener dogs, brought the golf cart and stuff. And this was my first time really my dad got to see me as a fighter pilot. I'd done a cross country in a T-38, but there's nothing better than coming to your home in a jet that is meant for combat. Because, this is just the pride for them. So I got to land at New Iberia. You do a couple patterns and stuff, which I thought was cool. That's the first time I'd ever seen a carrier brake because I think it might have even been Stoner that, as he's leaving, he's doing like carrier brake, to depart. And I'm like, wow, that's legal. That's the coolest thing ever. And it was just an experience, because now you're there, you're standing in front of the aircraft, you're starting to talk to people and they're asking you questions. Some of them are great questions that you have no idea. And some of them are like stupid questions like, is that your bombs on there? Is that a nuclear weapon you're there with? And some of it's just like, this is, tell me about the deployment. Tell me about what you're going on. Because remember, this is 09, 2010. We're still in the middle of OIF, OEF. And to me, it was one of the most rewarding things I'd done just because of the family aspect. And one of the funny stories is, I was like probably the third one or the last one I did. One of them got rained out. So there was no air show. We was just to fly in and then we left. And the last one, for those of you that are familiar with the F-16, you'll know my pain. But for those of you that aren't, it's got a jet fuel starter, JFS, and it's got 2 bottles, right? So it stores this energy to start it. And start 1, start 2, pops the accumulator there, and it fires the JFS, which then fires the engine because that's how it starts. It doesn't have a start card or anything like that. If the pressure is low, if it's been sitting a while, sometimes you'll go JFS start 2 and you'll get and a big puff of smoke and nothing will happen. Well, luckily the crew chief, I didn't have a crew chief for this one, but the Viper demo team was there. And so really great crew chief's like, yeah, I got you, man. Goes over to his stuff, grabs the handle and goes, here you go. And it's springtime, it's hot. So I'm under the jet pumping up to get the accumulator up to get enough pressure so that I can start the engine because it's like, I forgot, somebody in the chat will probably know. That's probably an F-16 crew chief, but I think it's like a couple hundred like cranks to get it back to the right pressure once you pop that bottle. And it takes a while when you're in full flight gear. But the whole time my dad's filming this thing. he's just sitting there with with the 8mm camcorder filming this entire evolution of me getting in, strapping in. Yeah, I'm cool. Woo, get out, pump the bottle up, get back in. Okay, I'm cool again. Taxi out, and then off to back to Homestead. And to me, that was just, you look back at your career, you look back at some of the coolest things you did, and being able to, I saw Doug, you were there for that, and I think being able to show your friends and family what you've accomplished was probably one of the most meaningful things that I've been able to do. I did cross countries, which I think next week we'll talk about cross countries because I think there's a lot to talk about separately. But I did cross countries in the Hornet, never got to do an air show. But I think those two things were some of the most fulfilling, and also some of the things you learned because you're on your own with an airplane. Uncle Sam, at the time I was 26, 27 years old with my own F-16, and well, you've also got all the stuff associated with it to take care of. So.
Your dad was probably like, man, you got to be in good shape to start an F-16.
He's probably like, boy, I told you not to work on the things yourself. He was.
Yeah. Don't give Mover a wrench.
Yeah. I'm not, as T-Bear will attest, I'm not the person to be working on anything.
Yeah. That's awesome, man. That's a good story.